I remember the first time I truly understood the power of prayer. It was a crisp autumn morning, and I was walking through a park near my home. As I strolled, I felt a sudden urge to pray for a friend who was going through a difficult time. I stopped, closed my eyes, and lifted my heart to God. In that moment, something shifted. I felt connected to something greater than myself. The worries of the day faded away, replaced by a sense of purpose and hope. Later that day, I received a call from that very friend. She told me how she had felt an unexplainable sense of comfort and strength earlier that morning, at the exact time I had been praying for her. This experience marked the beginning of my journey into understanding the depths of prayer. David Brainerd's life stands as a testament to the power of intercessory prayer. Born in 1718, this young missionary to the Native Americans left an indelible mark on the world of faith. Despite his short life, he died at 29. Brainerd's impact continues to inspire believers centuries later. Brainerd would often spend entire days in prayer, kneeling in the snow-covered forests of New England. He battled illness and loneliness, yet his commitment never wavered. His prayers were not mere recitations but passionate pleas for the salvation of souls. One account describes Brainerd praying so fervently that when he rose from his knees, the spot was wet with tears and sweat. The fruit of Brainerd's prayers became evident in the remarkable revival that occurred among the Native Americans he served. Even after his death, Brainerd's legacy lived on through his journals, which were published by Jonathan Edwards. Brainerd's life reminds us that a life poured out in prayer can have an impact far beyond what we can see or imagine. John Wesley, the founder of Methodism, was another giant in the realm of intercessory prayer. Wesley believed that prayer was not just a spiritual discipline but the very heartbeat of a vibrant faith. He once famously said, "God does nothing but in answer to prayer." Wesley's commitment to prayer was evident in his daily routine. He would rise at 4 a.m. every morning to spend several hours in prayer before beginning his day's work. Even in his busy schedule of preaching and traveling, Wesley always made time for prayer. He would take passages from the Bible and turn them into personal prayers. Wesley's intercessory prayers were not limited to his personal devotions. He organized prayer meetings and encouraged his followers to pray for revival across England. His life serves as a powerful reminder that consistent, faithful prayer can indeed change the course of history. Rees Howells, a Welsh coal miner turned intercessor, took the concept of prayer to new depths in the early 20th century. Howells' journey into intercession began with a profound encounter with God that left him forever changed. Howells believed that true intercession required more than just words. It demanded a life fully yielded to God. He often spoke of praying through until he received assurance from God that his prayers had been answered. One of the most remarkable aspects of Howells' ministry was his intercessory work during World War II. He and a team of intercessors at the Bible College of Wales spent hours each day praying for specific battle outcomes. Many of their prayers were answered in astounding ways, leading some to believe that the intercessors played a crucial role in the Allied victory. Howells' life teaches us that intercessory prayer is not for the faint of heart. His legacy continues to inspire believers to embrace the high calling of intercession. Section 5. The Sacrifice of Prayer Warriors. The lives of great intercessors like Brainerd, Wesley, and Howells reveal a common thread: sacrifice. These prayer warriors understood that powerful intercession often comes at a personal cost. For David Brainerd, this sacrifice meant enduring harsh conditions and loneliness as he ministered to Native Americans. John Wesley's sacrifices were different but no less significant. He gave up the comforts of a settled life, traveling thousands of miles on horseback to preach and pray. Rees Howells took sacrifice to another level. He believed that true intercession meant identifying so closely with those he prayed for that he would be willing to lay down his life for them. This led him to make radical decisions, like giving away his wealth and living on faith. For Howells, these sacrifices were not burdens but opportunities to demonstrate his complete trust in God. Section 6. Moments of Divine Intervention. The lives of these prayer warriors are filled with remarkable stories of divine intervention, moments when the power of intercessory prayer became tangibly evident. One such story comes from the life of John Wesley. During a violent storm at sea, Wesley was struck by the calm faith of a group of Moravian Christians who continued to sing hymns while others panicked. This experience, coupled with his fervent prayers, led to a profound spiritual awakening that shaped the rest of his ministry. David Brainerd witnessed divine intervention among the Native Americans he served. After months of seemingly fruitless labor and intense prayer, he suddenly saw a great spiritual awakening sweep through the community. Rees Howells and his team at the Bible College of Wales saw numerous answers to their prayers during World War II. One notable instance was their prayer for the evacuation of Allied troops from Dunkirk. Section 7. The joy found in worship. While the lives of these great intercessors were marked by sacrifice, they were also characterized by profound joy. This joy wasn't dependent on circumstances, but flowed from their deep connection with God through prayer and worship. For David Brainerd, joy came in those moments of intense communion with God in the wilderness. John Wesley often spoke of the heart strangely warmed, a phrase he used to describe the joy and assurance he felt in God's presence. Rees Howells, despite the intensity of his intercessory work, was known for his joyful spirit. He believed that intercession, far from being a burden, was a joyful privilege. Howells often spoke of the deep satisfaction he found in partnering with God through prayer. This joy was contagious, inspiring others to embrace the call to intercession. Section 8. Living with eternity in mind. One of the key characteristics that set these prayer warriors apart was their eternal perspective. They lived each day with the realization that this life is but a brief moment compared to eternity. David Brainerd, knowing that his life would likely be cut short by illness, poured himself out in prayer and service. John Wesley famously said, "I judge all things only by the price they shall gain in eternity." This eternal perspective shaped his priorities and fueled his tireless work. Rees Howells lived with a keen awareness of the spiritual realm. He saw intercessory prayer as a way to impact eternity from earth. This eternal perspective gave weight and urgency to his prayers. Section 9. The transformative power of obedience. The lives of these great intercessors demonstrate the transformative power of obedience. Their effectiveness in prayer was directly linked to their willingness to obey God, even when it was difficult or costly. For David Brainerd, obedience meant leaving behind the comforts of civilized life to minister in harsh conditions. John Wesley's obedience was evident in his willingness to preach in the open air when he was barred from pulpits. Wesley believed that obedience to God's commands was the key to spiritual growth and effective ministry. Rees Howells took obedience to extreme levels, often making radical decisions based on what he believed God was asking of him. Whether it was giving away his wealth or interceding for specific world events, Howells was always ready to obey. His life demonstrates that great power in prayer comes through great obedience. Section 10. Modern-day intercessors. The legacy of these great prayer warriors continues to inspire modern-day intercessors. All around the world there are men and women who have taken up the mantle of fervent sacrificial prayer. One such modern intercessor is Pete Greig, founder of the 24/7 prayer movement. Greig was inspired by the prayer lives of historical figures like the ones we've discussed. Another contemporary prayer warrior is Heidi Baker, a missionary to Mozambique. Baker's ministry is characterized by intense prayer and remarkable miracles. These modern-day intercessors, along with countless others around the world, prove that the power of prayer is not limited to a bygone era. Their lives echo the words of James 5:16. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. Section 11. A call to devoted prayer. As we reflect on the lives of these great intercessors, both past and present, we are called to examine our own prayer lives. Their stories challenge us to move beyond casual, self-centered prayers to a life of devoted intercession. The examples of Brainerd, Wesley, and Howells remind us that effective prayer often requires sacrifice. It may mean giving up sleep to pray in the early morning hours like Wesley. It might involve stepping out of our comfort zones to pray for and serve others like Brainerd. Or it could mean aligning our entire lives with God's purposes through prayer, as Howells did. But these stories also assure us that the rewards of such a life are immeasurable. The joy, the deep communion with God, the thrill of seeing prayers answered, these far outweigh any sacrifices we might make. As we commit to a life of intercessory prayer, we open ourselves to experiencing God's power in new and exciting ways.